because I don't like to mention things until the ink is dry. We have had major developments where there have been many discussions, and not one of them passed through Parliament. The people only hear about of an agreement after. Where was the meaningful discussion?
When the ink is dry, Drew's transparent deception. By Open Debates, SKN. For nearly 4 years, Prime Minister Terence Drew has repeated one peculiar phrase like a badge of honor. I don't like to mention things until the ink is dry. What may seem to some as a cautious approach to governance is in fact a revealing motto for a dangerous pattern. A culture of secrecy masked as leadership. While the Prime Minister publicly boasts about transparency, openness and integrity, this single phrase betrays the true DNA of his administration. Citizens are only informed after the fact, after the ink is dry, after the deals are done, after public input becomes irrelevant. Let's be clear, transparency is not secrecy after a signature. True transparency demands open dialogue, advance notice, public consultation, and the courage to be held accountable before decisions are finalized. What Drew presents as caution is in fact control. What he calls leadership is actually concealment. And this is not an isolated phrase. This is the Drew Doctrine. It has guided some of the most controversial, unilateral and secretive announcements of his term to date. Controversial announcements. Under the ink is dry doctrine. Acceptance of US criminal deportees. A deal reportedly reached with the United States to accept criminal deportees, without public debate, without safety planning, without accountability to the people who live here. Fort Thomas Hotel Redevelopment Agreement. A secretive deal involving prime national property. Who are the stakeholders? What are the terms? When did the people get a say? All we know is, the ink is dry. Foreign policy positions aligned with US interests. Support for divisive US global policy decisions, including silence on visa sanctions imposed on Antigua and Dominica, and no known challenge to regional interference. Signed, sealed, and never openly discussed. Special Sustainability Zones Act, SSZ. Introduced with minimal public consultation and passed under the radar, the SSZ Act allows mass land aggregation and displacement of locals, particularly in Nevis. When concerns surfaced, the PM's response was vague and delayed. CBI program changes and foreign advisors. Major alterations to the Citizenship by Investment program were introduced with foreign influence and no parliamentary debate. Citizens were told only after the ink dried. Closed-door health and infrastructure agreements, multi-million-dollar MOUs, with unnamed partners in healthcare and infrastructure. The PM later announced them with fanfare, but without documents, due diligence reports, or public scrutiny. Diplomatic appointments and expensive overseas offices. High-cost decisions made quietly, revealed only after political backlash or press leaks. The true meaning of when the ink is dry. This mantra has become more than a personal quirk. It is the Drew administration's operating procedure. When Drew says he is waiting for the ink to dry, he is telling the people, you don't need to know until I've already decided for you. That is not transparency. That is autocracy wearing a democratic suit. It raises serious questions. Who is advising him? Who benefits from silence? How is this acceptable to his cabinet, his party, his supporters, his wife? No one truly invested in Drew's success can honestly believe this approach will end well. The only honest thing? That the ink is dry. The cruel irony of Drew's favorite phrase is that it may be the only honest thing he's consistently said. When he says the ink is dry, he is telling us, you're too late. Too late to ask questions. Too late to intervene. Too late to be treated as stakeholders in our own democracy. Our response as citizens. We must reject this model of governance. Silence before signing is not leadership. It is fear of public scrutiny. It is fear of the people. It is manipulation dressed as maturity. Caribbean democracy cannot survive on decisions made in the shadows. We must demand open books before open ceremonies. We must reject announcements made after the fact. We must expose the deception behind the phrase and the machinery that props it up. This is about defending our democracy.
Because I don't like to mention things until the ink is dry.